I'd like to invite him on stage.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Hi. I'm Infantino. I'll repeat all that all over again. I started studying mechanical engineering, and I did so because my parents wanted me to be an engineer. Right? Parents always mean well for us. Right? And over time, I realized that I had a skill with my hands. I used to sculpt, I used to paint, but I never really thought about making it a career, right? How many of you here are artists? How many of you can paint, sketch, sculpt? How many? Don't be shy, don't do that. How many? And how many of you think that you can actually make a career out of it, make money out of it? Beautiful. Maybe by the end of the talk I'll have more hands up, right? Now, the first question I got asked from my parents when I said, look, I don't want to do mechanical engineering. The first question they asked was, what do you want to do? I said, anything but mechanical engineering, right? And this, I assume, was the first thought that my parents had. They'd see their son sitting on the street with a poster like this saying, would paint for food or would sculpt for food, and they were very concerned. So they took me to a psychiatrist and they said, there's something wrong with my son. I think he's on drugs, right? Or I think he's in love, because love makes you do things like that. Leave mechanical engineering. And I said, no, I'm perfectly well and I know what I want, right? And this is the core of my talk to you all today, right? First of all, you need to know what you want to do, okay? And then you need to convey that to your parents. And once your parents know what you want to do, they will support you. How many of you have heard of the phrase, follow your heart always? You've heard of follow your heart, right? But I take it one step further. Follow your heart, but take your mind along with it, right? Because the mind is yours. The mind always looks out for you. And I equate the mind to your parents. They always look out for you. But the moment they know that he knows what he wants to do, she knows what she wants to do, they will support you, okay? So, starting from the time I left mechanical engineering, I said I want to join hotel school. And I'll tell you why I said I want to join hotel school and be a chef. Because I went to a 5-star hotel in Bombay, my hometown, and I loved the glamour. You know, you go to a 5-star hotel, the luxury, like, I just want to be here. But you don't know what happens back at the house. It's a struggle, but I didn't see that. So I said, I want to be a chef. I want to go into hotel school. And they said, okay, well, we'll admit you, we'll get admission in a hotel school. So I went and joined hotel management. I did 3 years in hotel school. I was a merit lister all the way, so my parents thought, well, there is nothing wrong with my son. He's fine, he knows what he wants to do. And I passed out, and I became a chef. I was in the kitchen for about 2 years, and I was back in Dubai, right? But inside of me, there was always something that wanted to come out. It wanted to break free. And whilst I was in the kitchen, and I loved to cook as a chef, I loved it, right? There was still something there was something creative inside that wanted to come out, and it wanted more than just being a chef, because a chef is a creative job too, no? And then I started to get close to the kitchen artist there, who used to sculpt a lot of ice. Yeah? So I said, let me go and try. So I used to work in the kitchen for about 12 hours a day, and then on my own time, I worked with an ice sculptor. And then I realized, well, I can make money out of this. I can make this into a profession because there's somebody doing it already, right? And then I went on and I sculpted with ice, right? I'll show you in one of the slides. Can we change the slide? Yeah. Okay, I'll tell you a story about this before we get to the ice sculpture. this was a greeting card competition in school, right? And this was the greeting card I made. This was the first art project that I ever did. And I asked my father the day before, could you get me some material for a greeting card competition? And my father came late from work and he forgot. And so I collected some paper the next day and I went and did this. And I didn't expect to get anything out of it. But I won, right? And I didn't realize it then. I went through mechanical engineering, through being a chef, but this was always there. This was always there. And at every point in my life, it cropped up. Every point in my life, it reminded me. This picture, in fact, was sent to me by my mother just a couple of months ago to remind me of that, right? There you go. That's me, clean shaven, looking all well groomed as a chef. And this was what I did. I started off styrofoam in the hotel industry. I used to make these things for Easter, to put up in the hotel buffets. Those are my ice carvings. And I was very happy that I got this opportunity to get out for people to see it, right? Because all along nobody did. And I was so happy that I got the chance. So I tried everything. And the actual artist that I was working under, he thought I was too adventurous because I went crazy and he had to clean up after me. So he always said, go easy with your stuff. And what happened was, I won the award for Employee of the Year. That was not because I was a chef, but it was because I was a chef and I did what I love to do. Right? It was the first time in the history of that company that anybody in the kitchen had the award. And that was it. And so I felt very recognized. I felt, well, I had a mainstream job as a chef, but I also did what I love to do, right? And I'm being recognized for it. Yeah, this is not a mess. It's an organized chaos. I know what was where. This was my workshop. This was my workshop. And you can see how small it was. This was when I was in Kuwait. Yeah? When I joined, I was attached to the Hilton Hotels in Kuwait. And I came on board as a resident artist. Yeah? So you know, the hotel industry is, they don't employ artists. So there has to be somebody that's seen my work and then said, okay, let me create a position for you and we'll give you this. Yeah? It was basically a hole in the wall without any shelves, just one table and one cupboard and one chair. And this was how I arranged my stuff, right? It was not a mess. I repeat, it was an organized chaos. I knew what was where, right? Now, this was the first British promotion that we did in the hotel, and I made a London taxi. And this was all styrofoam. This was 2/3 of the original size, and I carved it with one kitchen knife, just one kitchen knife, right? So if you look at the headlights and all that, those were the lights from the pool. The radiator grill was broomsticks, right? And that down there was my employee number. And it became a hit, and everywhere in Kuwait, it's a very small country, and everywhere in Kuwait, everybody came to see this. Huh? Yeah, and then this tent in Kuwait we built for the Football World Cup. And if you see the facade in front, it's all styrofoam. Yeah? And this was what I did in 2 weeks. Okay? So I'll just pass you, we'll go quickly through the slides. Yeah. Now, this work is very interesting and very close to my heart, and I'll tell you why. There came a time when the economy was bad, and we didn't have money. The company said, sorry, we don't have money, and we cannot afford to buy stuff, right? So you've got to find your way out. So what I did was I went into trash bins. There was huge trash bins. I jumped into trash bins, and I picked up rubbish. I picked up breakages, I picked up tiles and glass and I put them together, right? And I used to create these very abstract looking pieces. And I used to put them out in restaurants, and they became very famous. And I was nicknamed the garbage artist, yeah? In a good way, because I used to work with garbage. So every day in the morning, I used to go into my studio and find this big crate of restaurant breakages, and I used to put them together, and I used to put them out in restaurants. Yeah? So we saved money. We didn't have. The hotel was happy because, well, I was not costing them anything, and I was happy because I was getting to do what I loved to do. And some more of this. Right, now this. This was the first time I had money, and I bought aluminium, and we had a big event in Kuwait, and they asked me, what can you do? We have a budget. So I said, let me see what I can come up with, and I came up with these abstract sculptures then. And to be very honest, I surprised myself because I didn't plan what I wanted to do. I had the material and I just trusted what was deep down here, right? And I made about 6 pieces of this. And again, they became very famous in Kuwait, and everybody came and started to look at them and follow my work after that. This is another workshop of mine, and again, another organized chaos. You look at the workshop sizes. At that time, in this position that I was complaining, and I said, "Oh, my studio is terrible. You don't believe in my work because it's so small, it's so cramped, there's no ventilation." Today, this was about 12 years ago. Today, I'm grateful that I had this because nobody gives you that position. Nobody says, "Come, work for me as an artist. Do what you love to do. I'll pay you, but you have to make do with the space." Nobody says that. But I used to complain. I had a small room. Today when I look at this, I'm very proud of what came out of that room. Yeah? And this was some of the pieces that I made when I was attached to the Hilton in Kuala Lumpur. This was when I worked with wood. Wood again. This was styrofoam and wood. This was Mount Rushmore we made for an American promotion in Kuala Lumpur. That's my wonderful space. If you notice in this slide, you look at the roof, you look at the artificial roof. I had taken them all off because my sculptures had to go through the roof. I had to take them all off. And these were the very first few pieces that I made as a welder. I tried welding. I used to go into the engineering department and I used to learn from the welders there. And I said, let me try. So, I have no education as a welder. I have no education as an artist. I have an education in hotel school. And then my pieces got bigger. This was for Chinese New Year, the year of the horse. These are smaller pieces that I made for the lounges of the hotel. This was the jazz band. These pieces were commissioned by the Subang airport. And they were there for many years. Until now, they have refurbished it and they've taken them down. And this was my really, the first really big piece. And this was commissioned by that Mutiara Jacquelina. She auctioned, we had an auction, and she bid for it, and she bought it. The Guardian was my first 3-dimensional piece. And what I did at this moment on, I said, somebody's investing in me, giving me the money, giving me the space to work, giving me the freedom to work. I need to challenge myself. I cannot keep going and doing the same thing over and over again. Yeah? These are some more of my pieces in Hilton KL. Right, now this is what I have now. And you see how the space has grown. Over years, over time, people started to trust my work. They started to look at what I did in the past, and they said, Infantino, tell us what you want. I said, I need 3 things. I need space, I need the time, and I need the freedom to do what I want to do. And when I joined, this is at Sunway, this is with the Sunway group. I am now with the Sunway group, and I speak very often to times with Jeffrey G, and he understands what art is. He appreciates art, and he gives me this space so I can do what I love to do. Right? I'll show you some of the work I did there. This is young. This is my first piece with the Sunway. It's at Sunway Velocity now. This is how I work. Not the safest, but it works. Right? If you take up a career in arts, put up a harness, see that you're safe. Okay, you look at one leg in the air, but this is how I work. This was Victor. Victor was out about 3 years ago. It was in Pyramid. Now it is in Velocity Mall. And Victor was big. Victor was the first time in my life that I decided to do art not for the sake of art. Right? I realized I have been blessed with a gift, and it's not just me. All of you sitting here are blessed with a gift. You are alive today because of that gift. Because I can do this, and I can inspire people. You can do something to inspire people as well. And I always tell people, the driver that brought me here today has his purpose. The banker that puts money into my account has his purpose. Because he does what he does, I am able to do what I do. And this is what I want you to remember, is that all of you here have a gift. You have a talent. Try and ask yourself sometimes. It takes a while. Right? Because right now at this age, you are all under the guidance of your teachers, your parents, and a lot of the elders tell you this is the right path, this is the right path. But always remember, the path is always yours. You know what you have to do. The ones that put up their hand and said that you'll paint and you'll sculpt and all that, you know what you have to do. The others might not be aware of it, but you will. If you ask yourself, what do you want to do in life, you will get the answer. Okay? People say don't get scared, fear is a bad thing. Yes, I say don't fear about what is going to come tomorrow. Fear about losing what you have today. And every day I wake up in the morning and I get to work, because tomorrow I might go blind, or I might not have a limb, and I won't be able to do what I do. So I get up in the morning and I said, well, I believe in God, and I said, God, thank you for giving me this, and I'm going to make a difference in this world. And each one of you can do that. God doesn't love me more than He loves you, no? No, but this changed my life. I realized I'm here loving what I do, getting paid for it, in a very comfortable position. And there were my friends who were stressed, who were doing jobs that society said, you have to do these jobs because this is a secure life. Yeah, so they were always preparing for the future. I was living in the present. And they were stressed, and every evening I used to go to them and sit down at the mop-up and say, oh my God, you're so stressed, you're so lucky. And I said, wait, let me do something for you. And I did this. There were all these friends of mine that were stressed, depressed, personal life, professional life. And I said, let me do something for you. So when I did this, it was not just art for the sake of art. It had a message. And then I realized that what I was given was to give everyone the message that you can do this, right? And that's why I'm very grateful that you invited me here today. Because when I was in your position, nobody ever came and told me, you can do this, you can be successful. Nobody did. Nobody did. You should be thankful to your school, to your faculty that does that, right? Now, if you look at Victor, you look at the skin's all burnt. And it symbolizes the trials and tribulations that somebody goes through in their life. But if you look at the head, the mane, there's pride, but it's not arrogance, it's pride. It's pride. You look at it, it looks sad, but it looks victorious. And when people came and seen this, they were touched. There was a girl that messaged me and said, I've never known you before, I've never seen you, but I was depressed and I wanted to commit suicide. And I came to Sunday Pyramid and I seen Victor, and it gave me a meaning to my life. And I got loads of messages, and I said, well, this is what I'm here for. This is the purpose in my life. Imagine if I was in another career, probably that one girl would not be here today. And imagine if you have that power. You do. You just need to know it. Yeah, you look at all the people that came. I used to go up and hide behind the pillar and watch the people coming and taking pictures. It was a very nice moment for me because they loved. They came with families together, with kids, and everybody came and took pictures. And it was, for me, because it was so successful, it went to my head. Right? It was successful in the media. I was on radio. I was in magazines, and it went here. And then, after a couple of days, I came down. I took the broom and I swept my workshop. I mopped it, and I said, "This is where I belong. This is my purpose. I cannot be up here. The recognition and appreciation is good, but I am here, and I will continue to be here. I will not be attached to what happens after I make the piece. My duty finishes once I finish. That's it. Right? Because if it doesn't get the media attention, I will be disappointed. No? So my work finishes and I'm detached. Okay? And that brought me to the next piece I did. I did one. One is a collection of 7 Indian bisons. This took me 2 years. Yeah, I had to challenge myself after Victor to get better. So I took it a notch further. Victor took me 5 months. This one took me 2 years. I continuously worked for 24 months. That's the 7 of them. They are Sunway Lagoon, at the entrance. I don't know how many of you have seen them. But again, the message here was one of unity. And I realized that I can touch people individually in their personal life. Let me take it one step further and touch a community. Right? So this was what I did there. And this is the message that I want to send out to you all. I want you all to understand that each of you is talented. Yeah? When all my friends see this and they go, you're so talented. I said, well, I'm good at something and you're good at something. It's not just me. You are equally good at something. It's just that you went with the flow and I went against it. Today I seen my parents crying because I was not an engineer then. Today, if there's somebody that goes to my house, my father will not leave him. He'll open all the newspapers, all the magazines. He'll show them, he'll make them listen to the interview. And he's so proud. My mother is so proud. And they keep talking about it. And they give talks outside to parents to allow children to do what they want to do. But always remember, be true to yourself first. If I am not true to myself, I cannot expect my parents to understand. Okay? So how many of you here want to do something different? What's a career that you think is unique, that you would love to do? Anyone? Anyone? Accountant? Lovely. And it's good because you see, and that's the point. The point is, I can be talented with numbers, and I can be a good accountant. I can be a financial controller. Sorry? I can't hear something. Author? Perfect. Perfect. It takes a lot of courage to go and say, look, I don't want this, I want to do something different. But if you really have the courage to do it, you will. And let me tell you one thing that I told myself, and I made my mind, I prepared my mind to get to where it is now. I told myself when I was a teenager that I'm going to be hungry, I'm going to live on the street, and I won't have a house. I won't have food to eat. And my mind was already ready. Anything better than that, my mind said, okay, go ahead, follow your heart. But the minute my mind thinks, oh, you don't know what you're doing, it comes in the middle and it starts to think. So I have been following my heart, I take my mind. People ask me, how do you manage in the corporate world to have a job as an artist? How do you make money? I don't think about it. Until today, and I'm saying this very honestly, I don't check salary slips. I don't check the benefits that come. I don't. If somebody is willing to pay me, give me the time, space to do my work, I'll come. That's it. As long as there's food on the table, there's a house, there's things, I'll come. I don't own a car. I don't even own a house. I have no ownership of anything. I love this. And today one has a market value of 6 million ringgit. I don't need it. I'm fine. They ask me, why don't you go freelance? I don't need to go freelance. I'm comfortable. People are paying me. They're taking care of me. Why do I have to go freelance? When I go freelance, I'll start thinking about money. I say, oh, this is going to cost me 6 million. I need to make it 6 million worth. And then it won't be like this. But I know now that I can do it. I can go freelance anytime I want, right? And before I wind up, there's one more thing. Remember when you go out into society, there's a lot of people. You have a lot of sounds, a lot of voices telling you, do this, do that, do this. Eventually, you will end up with a stable job that pays you well. And when that happens, don't be comfortable, because the day you are comfortable, that's the end. Okay? So if I tell you want to be an author, but you end up studying engineering, do it. Work as an engineer. Simultaneously, take up a course in writing. Write 2 years. You have somebody paying your salary. Use that. Don't be comfortable. If you read my profile, you will see I did a lot of things. I studied a lot. And then I teach. I used to teach photography. Today I teach dance, which is totally disconnected to what I do. But I invested that time. There was a time when every day of the week I had to take a different course. If there was one day free, I had to look up and search for a part-time course. I might not make money out of it, but it helped me in this. And that gives me more confidence when I go up to the bosses in my company and say, look, I want this, I need to do this. I'm not scared because if they say no, I will go and I have other things to do. Okay? Don't be comfortable. Right? Trust yourself. Trust yourself. You're very young. And I would love 2 weeks ago, I gave a talk to toddlers. And all I did was show them slides. And they were very happy to see the lion and the bulls and all that. You're all you guys are at an age where you can decide. You can start to look within and say, what am I good at? Am I good at cooking? Am I good at writing? Am I good at sculpture? Am I good at painting? Why not? Society says, no, you cannot make money out of it. It's okay. You will be happy. Every day I go to sleep, I'm content. I did the best I can with what I have. And you will be successful. You will not imagine how many people are there to buy your stuff, to pay you to do what you do. Okay? Do you have any questions for me? Anything? Don't be shy. No? No? Zia, any questions?
How do you make such a piece?
How do I make? You mean physically? How do I make?
Yeah, how do you start?
Right. I work alone, right? I don't have assistants, and I work with the minimum tools possible. So for a piece like this, I have to first create an exoskeleton with metal rods, and then I finalize that skeleton, and then I weld sheets on top of it. So I have mild steel sheets that are 1.2 mm thick, and I weld them on top of it. So each of these, if you go and see them online, or if you see them at Sunville Lagoon, each of them have a different personality. And that message to this was one of unity, that we are all one. We might be different cultures, religions, beliefs, we are all one. We have our own personalities, and we have our own purpose in this life. And when we come together, we are strong. Where your weakness might be my strength, and my weakness might be your strength. right? So remember, if you do what you want, what you set out to do, the universe will help you. When I changed jobs, I cannot look for a position because nobody advertises as job vacancy for resident artist who sculpts metal. I've never seen that on a newspaper. But I just trusted. I said, that's it. I cannot do anything more here. I have to go. I have to leave. And I left. And after 2 days, somebody else called me and said, come, we need you here. The universe will always put things in your way, and it'll be perfect. Don't be scared. You're scared now. That first step is the scariest. After you take that first step, it becomes easy. Very easy. Okay? Thank you for listening to me. I wish thank you. I would like to see more of you follow your heart, and I hope it helps. I thank the principal, the faculty for inviting me here to talk to kids, because it's a good time to talk to them. I wish I had something like that in my school. But thank you so much. Thank you, Ziad, for it was his brainchild to actually call me. His mom and Vishnu went on and did everything else. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for the inspiring speech, Mr. Infantino. If you would stay on stage, we would call upon Mr. West to give a token of appreciation.
Thank you. Before I give this, I'd like to say that it's not often we get somebody with a lot of talent and inspiration, motivation that comes up and tells you they do something which is really, really different from the norm. Most of us hear about the jobs of being in the medical profession, the legal profession, the accounting profession, the finances. We hear about that all the time. That's where you should be. But very, very seldom do we hear anybody that steps up and says, hey, I'm in the artist field. And if you remember, again, I'll tell you myself as well. I came from a photography background, forensic science background, into education because I wanted to follow my heart. And then that developed into something else. The message today is follow that little voice inside you because it's really powerful. Quite often, we don't listen to it and we get in trouble. Start to learn to listen to your feelings, to the little voice that says, hey, do something different, because trust me, inside knows you better than you think. Follow something amazing. And Mr. Infantino, thank you so much. It was very, very inspiring, and it was really nice to share your work. And not just that, we can actually go out into the field and we can touch. We can see exactly what he's done and say, wow, I know the guy who did this. And he's really inspirational. Thank you.